Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
Yes, welcome everyone to episode 78. Brian, thank God you were back. Do not leave me alone to do it on my own ever again.
No promises, Jim. I like seeing you in pain.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And you might be hearing another voice in the background there because this week we have a guest.
Huh?
And we have a hell of a guest. This week we have another brother in alcohol. We have the SNES Drunk.
Ooh.
And can I just say, one of my favorite intros that seems to get a lot of heat for no goddamn reason?
SNES Drunk. Yeah, no, I just do that for, the Barney Gumble voice, and everybody seems to hate it. Not everybody, but it's like, okay, some people seem to hate it. Some people seem to love it. It's fine. Bring it. I bring the hate, bring the love. All of it. I don't give a shit. Can I swear on here? Is that
Oh, dude,
absolutely.
please.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Bring all the shit. I don't give a fuck. Bring all of it.
It seems like once a week you have
always the little vocal people that there's just some people that hate on your videos. And before we continue, let's just say, if you don't know SNES Drunk, all of his links are below. He has a new podcast, newer podcast, I'll say, Drunk Friend. And what else do you want to plug way out before I butcher anything?
That's it.
That's
we
it. Just making sure.
I have a Drunk Friend podcast, and I have my channel. I want to plug my friend's channel, Trav, who's NES Friend, who is, he's doing his thing. He's kind of doing the SNES Drunk thing with NES Friend with NES games, basically.
Nice.
So he's a good buddy of mine, and he's doing a really good job with I think his latest videos with pool videos, or with Marble Madness, or with something or other. Yeah, it's with rolling balls of some sort.
So wait, and if you've already answered this on your own site, we apologize. But one of the curious things I had is what was the real driver for you when you decided, you know what, let me start making these videos?
I just wanted to make videos for what I wanted to see myself. Because I think it was way back in boy, this was back when, like, 2012, something like that, and I was just kind of like, hey, I want to see the kind of stuff that I wanted to see. In this case, it would have been okay. Like, I'm trying to think of the game. I wanted to see information on, and it was some sort of like Ninja, or what was it? I can't even remember. Like, it was like fighting something. What's the
Fighters
Power
History?
Rangers? That's what it was.
Oh, Power Rangers. Okay.
Oh my!
No, Power Rangers. Yeah, that's what it was. And I wanted to say Ninja Turtles, but yeah, Power Rangers. And it was like some guy pointing his webcam at the TV for 12 minutes.
Ooh.
Just saying, like, okay, this is the game, here it is, this is the game that I'm talking about, blah blah blah. And I was just like, there's got to be a better way than this. And so I was like, well, I want to see something better than this. I want to see something better than I want to see a Siskel and Ebert kind of a thing that's like, hey, what's a short and abbreviated way of seeing, like, this is how this stuff works, and so fine, here it is. And yeah, it's, hang on one second.
Sure.
out of here. Sorry, you're gonna have to edit this out. Get out!
Sounds like.
Sorry.
No,
All good, man.
Sorry. No, it's one of those things where it's like you need to get everything out of get the clutter out, and just be like, okay, this is what needs to happen, and good, because it seems like that's what was the problem in the first place for most of these people. So let's bring I'm missing the words here.
All right, back real quick, Alex. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry about that. It's my fault. No, for me, I just wanted something that reminded me of the old Siskel and Ebert TV show. It was just like, hey, these people. That was what my favorite thing about that TV show was, like, hey, we're gonna tell you what we think about this movie. We're not gonna tell you what this movie's about, but we're going to say, like, hey, here's what we think about this movie. And I loved that about that show. At that time, anyway. There were no spoilers at the time. At least I don't think there were any spoilers. I would have to go back and watch again, but yeah, no, it was like a really fun show to watch when I was a kid, because my dad watched it too, and he always looked forward to the old Siskel and Ebert show. And it's like, why isn't there a show for this for gaming? It's like, why isn't there a show for this, like, for, like, I want to play, I don't know, Ghost of Tsushima, or I want to play, some Dark Souls game or whatever. Why isn't there something like that out there for me, so I can go and watch, something that makes sense to watch, and, like, hey, what, I don't know, like, this is just makes sense to watch, and I want to know if I should play this or not, I guess, like, that's makes sense to me. But I guess it's hard to do that with games. But yeah, I wish there was something like that for now, for games, or for something like that. But
you want, like, something like critical, but, like, that also just, like, cuts through the bullshit, because it seems like you have, like, a pretty set kind of formula down for your videos after all this time, where it's like, here's how long it is, here's how many lives you get, your continues, the difficulty. Like, it seems like you've really fallen into a good rhythm with all your videos lately. Well,
yeah, I think it's easier to do that with older games. I think that's easier to do that with 16-bit games, 32-bit games. With modern games, probably not so much. But yeah, with older games, I would think it's like, seems pretty simple,
Now, what made you, so you had mentioned earlier your buddy's doing the SNES Drunk. What drove you to go right to Super NES? Was that just as a kid, like, your favorite console and you grew up loving it, or what really drove that decision?
Yep, SNES Drunk. Did not have a NES when I was a kid, so I was SNES Drunk when I was very little. So not really much of a decision there. Yeah, no, I went from Atari to SNES.
Nice.
Like that's a pretty big leap. Did not I did have friends that have NESs back in the day, so that was I remember having sleepovers with friends when I was a kid, playing I remember Arch Rivals being a big game when I was a kid.
Good old
Mario 3. Yeah, Arch Rivals was amazing.
The proto NBA Jam. Come on now.
Oh yeah, it was. It totally was. Yeah, and because it was one of the first basketball games where you could just like beat the shit out of each other,
punching people, have Daniel DeVito as your referee. Yeah,
the crowd's throwing shit at you the whole time.
Yeah, I loved that when I was a kid, and so yeah, it was that and Mario 3 when I was a kid. Those were the go-tos. So yeah, no, that was it. And when SNES came along, it was Mario World, Final Fight, and yeah, eventually came NBA Jam and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, NES got left behind.
So you mean there's a chance? Sorry, Brett.
Oh,
so
ahead,
you mean there's a chance you could have been the Atari drunk, but you wanted to make videos that people would actually watch?
No, I think the Atari drunk has been taken. That is the what's that guy's name? God.
The no swear
There's
gamer?
another guy out there that no. It's what is that guy's name? I cannot remember. I gotta look right now. I'm sorry.
Nah, please.
So while you're looking at that, I guess it's safe to assume in the schoolyard you were very pro Super NES in the whole console.
Yeah, no. My childhood friend Sean was a Super Nintendo or was a Sega Genesis guy, and he had NHL 93. And that was his go-to for everything. So, yeah.
I have Super Metroid. I have NHL 93.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, we all know basically the Genesis was just a sports game console.
No, it wasn't, you motherfucker.
And I'm saying that just to piss Jim off.
Shut the fuck, you
Because
piece
Jim
of shit.
is a Genesis guy, so I love busting his balls every time.
I think it's an EA Sports console because EA Sports was definitely way better on Genesis. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
what other games? Wait a second, we got What other games are better in Genesis? Let's hear it. Come on, let's go.
All right,
go ahead, Jim.
Aladdin.
No,
I'm going right for the jugular.
You can't do that.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't because of the stupid sword. The sword is garbage.
It's more fun. I'm sorry. What game's more fun? Which one has a sword? Which one makes it more fun? Oh, I'm throwing apples and jumping.
It's a more platformer. It's a platformer.
So is mine.
You jump around.
I'm a platformer with a sword. You're just, a platformer. Like we don't have enough of those around.
No.
So Jim, you lost that one.
How fucking dare you? All right, Adventures of Batman and Robin.
Oh, you definitely won that one.
Yeah,
that's definitely for sure. Okay, yeah, not. Where the hell is that?
What else, Jim?
Guy's name. Where is that guy's name?
There ain't much else.
Out there. Well, if you have 2 arcade sticks and Super Smash TV's better, but if not, let's not talk about it. Every sports game, Streets of Rage is better than Final Fight.
All right, I'll give you that.
You don't have any Mutant League games.
Wait a second, though. Are you talking Final Fight 3?
Streets of Rage 2.
Final Fight 3 is pretty damn good.
All right, Final Fight 3 is better than Streets of Rage 3, but Streets of Rage 1 and 2 is better than Final Fight 1 and 2.
No, yeah, I'll give you it.
Haha.
Yeah, Streets of Rage 3 is... Or no, Streets of Rage 2 is pretty damn good. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah. I'll do Mega Turrican better than Super Turrican.
Oh, big time, yeah. No, I'll give you that one every time. Yeah.
All right, and I mean, you pick almost any shooter, it's going to run better on the Genesis.
Maybe.
I mean, you have Super Lest, you have Space Mega Force, you have that for you.
Okay, Space Mega Force. Are we talking Axelay? What about Axelay?
See, Axelay is a good one because we don't have anything like that on the Genesis. I'll give you that one. But all the Thunder Forces, I think.
Axelay is bad. No, yeah, you got the Thunder Force is gonna kill me every time. Big time.
You have Gradius, we have Fire Shark. I guess I can go with that. Completely different games.
Oh no, Gradius isn't even that good. You didn't have to give me Gradius because Gradius is fucking terrible.
I'm trying here. That good. I mean, right now it seems like almost a beatdown. I mean, you have Mega Man games, so I have Wily Wars, and that.
Well, Wily Wars is no, absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean,
but I will say X3 is is garbage. I do not think X3 is a good game at all.
You don't think it's good because it's worth $400 now?
Oh God, it's trash. I own that cartridge, and I wish I didn't because it's such garbage. But no, X and X2 are awesome. They're kick-ass.
And Jim, pretty much the thing that nukes all the competition is all the first-party games for Nintendo, and I know you fight for it, but Castlevania 4 is better than Bloodline, so I don't want to hear no bullshit there.
I don't think that's true. I think I would
blasphemy
rather play Bloodlines than Castlevania 4.
This is the best guess we've had yet. Brian, you're off the show.
That is
really.
Listen, I look at it like in Castlevania 4 is the best game that you had full control of the whip. And Castlevania Bloodlines, you never want to play as the whip dude because he sucks. You really know what to do with the spear. So you're not playing as a Belmont anymore. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. And with the rotation and the music and all the callbacks in Castlevania 4 to all the previous Castlevanias, better music, better graphics, and it's just an overall better controlling game.
I think I agree with all that. Yeah, no, I totally agree because I watched a long play of Bloodlines not too long ago, and I was like, damn, this game is quite a bit better than what I thought was Super Castlevania 4. It's a completely
underrated and overshadowed game. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge nerd for Castlevania games, but it's like you got guys like Jim, just because he's got a Genesis boner. He'll say any game on the Genesis is better than Super NES.
I won't say any.
It's a dirty lie.
I won't say any. I was just about to say he's got the advantage in Contra. 3's better than Hardcore, though. I will say Rocket Knight Adventure is better than any of the Sparksters that you have.
Of course, yeah. That goes without saying.
I mean, yeah, what do you call it? I mean, almost any Konami game is going to be better on the Super NES, and pretty much same with Capcom. I mean, Ghouls and Ghosts might be a toss-up, because I can aim up in mine, but you have a double jump.
No, I'd still say Ghouls and Ghosts better on Genesis. You can shoot up.
It just makes life so much easier.
It does. It really does. I kind of it took me like 5 years to learn how to play, Super Ghouls and Ghosts on Super Nintendo, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm so sick of this game, and I was ready to friggin' sell it. My girlfriend finally told me how to play it properly, and then I was just like, fine, I'll do it. And
fine, you're right.
I was just I was just fine, you're right. I'm gonna do this, and it's dumb, and I'm sick of this game. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think it is better on Genesis because it's a little more user friendly. I really do.
Yeah, well, what's funny is at the end of the day, I bust Jim's balls all the time, but every kid I ever knew, like, you generally didn't have many kids who had both consoles. So whatever you grew up with, just like anything in life, you fully justify all your answers to whatever your nostalgia is tied to.
Of course.
Yep.
And it's like, but at this point, like this day and age, like since we have so many other consoles, and chances are you either own both consoles or you emulate, you do whatever you do, you've played enough where you can just say both consoles are awesome. Like, instead of saying Super NES versus Genesis, I always like to argue, like, what's better, the 16-bit era or, the N64 PlayStation era? Or, like, go era versus era almost. Like, kind of go that way, because then it's a more interesting comparison for some things. But it's like, yeah, some people, they defend certain shit to the death, and Jim's one of them.
What? Right, what about the PC Engine?
Nobody cares about the PC Engine.
Right, people care about the PC Engine. It just took 30 years for people to know what it was, including me.
So do you just lose your mind when people talk about Dracula X on Super Nintendo, as opposed to
Rondo?
As opposed to Rondo. You just like.
I mean, that's the one people had. People had Dracula X, so like, I mean,
yeah,
it's fine. It's fine. It's not as good, but it's fine. Like, it's another good one to have.
It's like
I mean, I didn't grow up with the turbo, so I don't really like. It's a thing I got into. I think I got mine in like 2014 or something like that. So it's a thing I've slowly been collecting for. But Rondo is one of those ones I'm never gonna have anyway. Like, thank God for the Mini, because I wasn't gonna shell out that kind of money anyway. And I'm not afraid to shell out money for a collection either, as Brian knows all too well.
Oh yeah, but like literally, then there would always be those kids, and call them whatever you want. Like when everyone was talking Super NES, Genesis games, there was one kid who was clearly had a rich family, and he's like, "Yeah, but I have a Neo Geo," and everyone's like, "What the fuck is that?" And like, nobody talked, like we didn't know the kid, but it's like, if nobody else can share in that experience, like there's no point gloating about it. Like it's kind of like defeats the whole purpose. So he would like talk about it's arcade perfect, it's this and that. It's like cool, but nobody knows what you're talking about, and this is pre-internet, pre-everything. You could share shit, so it's like, yeah, cool, dude, stay there. But yeah,
look at this loser with a game that'll be worth $1,000 in 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and yeah, he's the type that probably has it all shrink wrap still. So
too funny.
He has it all graded.
So Alex, we wanted to ask before we go any further. We talked right before the podcast, but a little tradition Jim and I do with every podcast. We talk about what we're actually drinking and what we're playing. So Jim and I, we always stick with our beers. So Jim, what are you starting off with tonight?
All right, the first one, and I'm almost done with it, is the Mai Tai IPA from the Alvarado Street Brewery out of... It's probably something California. They're always California with this box. I'll find it, but comes in at 6.5% alcohol by volume. Probably there's nothing to read.
Oh, wow.
I don't have a bit. Yeah, Alex. Oh, it comes from Salinas, California. A bit I always have is a lot of craft breweries love to put like all these long paragraphs on the side of it, so I like to say it as inflection-y as possible. Like if you remember Zagat's, the skits on SNL with Chris Farley, I'm kind of like go with that route just to make Brian's life a living hell.
He just pisses me off with it.
And actually, when I'm done with that, I'm going to be going into and this is very appropriate in this COVID world we live in, the I Miss Loud Tap Rooms Double IPA. God damn, do I miss Loud Tap Rooms. But yeah, I'm just about done this first beer anyway, and yeah, it's a nice little citrusy IPA. I have no strong feelings towards it. If you come across it, it's fine.
Nice. All right, so I'm going with, and I've talked about this brewery a few times, Flying Monkey Craft Brewery. I've had a bunch of their beers, and they've never let me down. This is their Psycho Thrill Seekers Double IPA. It's an 8% double IPA. And the can is just fucking eye candy. And as you'll see on the video, it's funny when I bought this, the woman that was taking my card and like everything, she's like, man, if I bought beer based on how it looked, I'd be going broke with cans like that. Like, and it really is just a really attractive can. But I knew the brewery, so I was like, I don't have to worry about quality, because some guys can really suck you in with just really good-looking beer cans. But no, it's brewed in Canada. Yeah, there's really not much to say. It's delicious. I already finished one. I'm on my second one. It's one of the better double IPAs coming out of that Maple Leaf country that we love. So I got nothing more. I think I'm going to stick with this throughout the night. And Alex, how about you? What are you drinking?
I've got this weird thing that my girlfriend bought. It's called Tumbler Root. It's called a Tumbler Root Mojito, and I guess it's a can of a classic cocktail made with rum, fresh lime, and spearmint. And
okay.
12% alcohol. Listen,
it's a pre-made mojito, basically.
Basically, yeah. All I saw was 12%. I was like, sold. So I bring everything you have. But no. We don't have any we don't have any beer here, so that's all we have. So she's brought me that, and I'm fine with it.
Nah, whatever gets the job done.
12%.
Mojito's the thing.
Yeah, whatever
that
gets the
no
job
guy
done.
ever wants to order, but you drink it. And you think, this is goddamn delicious. Like it is.
It really is. It's
I dated a few bartenders in my life, and I'll tell you, like of drinks to make that, like they taste good, they're sugary, they're strong. mojitos are pretty damn delicious, and I'm a huge sucker for mint in drinks. So
bring all of it. Bring all of it.
And they're a great start of the night drink too. Also a great end of the night drink. But like
all of the mojito, bring it.
It's not it's not like starting the night off with like Manhattans where you just take a sip and you're like, oh god. But like a mojito, nice, smooth, relaxing. You ease your way into the drunk instead of like slamming them to not taste it anymore.
Exactly. Thank you.
Nice. And then the next thing, we said, Alex, we always talk about what games are we playing right now. So Jim, I'll just start. It's pretty easy for me. I haven't played a lot since last week, but I have since getting Game Pass. I'm trying out a bunch of games for the Bloodthirsty Thursdays. I was doing the Blair Witch. That game is fucking weird, and when I finish it, I don't know what I'm going to think of it. But Red Dead 2, I started playing that to see if it's worth it. Especially being on Game Pass, like I love the original, and I was like, let me see what this is all about. Maybe,
horse balls.
It's funny. I don't get the people who overly said how great it was, and I also don't get the people who said it's so boring. Like I can see the points of both, but I'm not nearly deep enough in the game to really have a strong opinion. Maybe in a week or two I might, but yeah, like everything, I think that game was overblown in terms of how amazing it was and how bad it was, if that makes sense. But yeah, Jim, what about you? What have you been playing?
I didn't play a shitload this week because I was working on that beer box video that we got out. So I dicked around a little bit more with Donkey Kong 64. That's going to take me so goddamn long to get through. Actually, SNES Drunk, the guy who set this us together up for tonight, Gamer Astral, he's a patron of both of ours, and this is his Patreon request video that we do for a game review. So I'll get it out eventually, you motherfucker. But this is going to take me a goddamn while.
Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, I played a little bit at Mario Party with the wife on Friday night, but the main I guess the main thing would have been Donkey Kong.
Nice. How about you, Alex? What you been playing?
Two things. Number one is Mario Sports Superstars on 3DS. I don't know why. I don't know how. I'm just playing Mario Baseball for fun on the toilet.
Nice.
Just I needed a toilet game. I got like Mario Golf on 3DS. But no, the other game I've been playing is Scooby Doo. On
Go on.
Funny transition. Scooby Doo on Super Nintendo. That's the game that's gonna post tomorrow.
Nice.
It's kind of it's one of those interesting games because it's different on Super Nintendo and different on Sega Genesis. The Sega Genesis game is kind of more of a point and click adventure, where it's got a menu on the bottom and you got to like point and click and do all that sort of stuff, where the Super Nintendo game is more of a platformer and you got to like jump around and do all this sort of stuff and hold the X button and have Scooby search for stuff and all that sort of thing. It's kind of interesting, so how the different platforms have that differences, but yeah, I thought that was funny. No, I like the Super Nintendo game. It's pretty goddamn boring. I'm not gonna lie. I think the Sega Genesis game is a lot better.
Wow.
Not that means a whole lot. But,
the shinier turd.
Yeah, shinier turd, but by far. But yeah, no, it's one of those things where it's like, what do you do? What do you, I picked out Scooby Doo for the week, and here's what I have to deal with, and yeah, that's. Yeah, Scooby Doo is not all that great of a subject to talk about sometimes, but yeah.
So let me ask you, when you do games now, because Jim and I have talked about this, we hit kind of a point where we almost, if you're playing games all the time for the purposes of reviews, does it ever start to take away the enjoyment of just sitting down and playing a game, not worrying about recording or having too much critical thinking? Because, it's rare anymore. Like, if I'm playing any game, just to get footage in case we talk about it or whatever, I'll record. But then there are some games where I strictly, you know what, I'm just going to play it for whatever. And with you, especially if you're playing Super NES games, I feel like you must always have that kind of critical thinking turned on in the back of your head.
Sometimes, yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, especially with crap like Scooby-Doo. It depends on the game, really. It's when it's stuff like Scooby-Doo, yeah. But when it comes to stuff like oh boy, like what do you call it? Like shit. Like you guys can edit this out. I'm trying to think of
no problem.
Don't worry.
You guys can think. I'm trying to think of a
like
Super Famicom game. What is that game called? Let me look it up.
Back to the Future game.
Back to the Future game. Yeah, right. No, that game is fine. That game works. No, like when you get to a Super Famicom game that nobody has heard of, and that stuff is fine. That stuff works just fine. So, it's what do you do with stuff like that? It's like just move it along. Just like you're just a messenger at that point. It's just like, yeah, here's this game, move it along. Here you go.
Well, dude,
I don't know what else to do with it.
Especially with like your upload schedule, because you do what? You do 2 videos a week, and
right.
Like, I'm looking at your stats here. Like, there's something in the water in 2013 because all of us beer channels, I guess, started at the same time. Because you were May, we were August, and you have 800 uploads, and you're not like us where we'll chop up our podcast or throw up our Let's Plays and shit like that too. You're like all fucking like actual like reviews and videos and shit like that. And I'm looking at this upload schedule. 1, I'm like, how the hell does this guy keep this up? And 2, like, you can tell when you get to the point where you're like, all right, I have to dig deep into the zigzag cats in the world and all the other random bullshit that you're going to dig deep into on this Super Famicom, or just any console, just to have content.
Hey, Zigzag Cat's a great game.
It is a good game.
Cat, bring it. It is a good game. Yes, Zigzag Cat is a good game. Don't you dare slag.
Sir, please. I will never besmirch the name of Zigzag Cat. But I just had to throw, like, one of those deep-cut Super Famicom games out there. One of the ones I can pronounce, too.
But yeah, no, that's how it works. Is just like, yeah.
So do you ever get into like your little themes like you're doing right now with Scooby-Doo and go, I fucked myself for the next month?
Sometimes, yeah. That's just how it is, yeah. Sometimes. Honestly, it's just, it keeps going like that, where it's just like, okay, what's next? At this point especially, I don't know what to do next, It's 6 years into this. It's just, what the hell do I do? I don't know. Bring it. I don't care.
As long as you're still having some kind of fun doing it, that's really all that matters.
Sure.
Now wait, here's the thing that Jim and I have said many, many times. When we first started, we were just going to be, let's go through every major genre games through all the generations, finding the best like fighting games, best sports, yada yada yada. That fell apart real quick just because of the amount, how tired you would get of playing the same game type over and over. But we went through all the Super NES fighting games, and I gotta say, I think Shaq Fu gets way more shit than it should when Super NES has Pit Fighter. Do you agree with that? Have you played both of those?
Oh my god!
I think Pit Fighter is the worst fighting game. Well,
is this where I have to
the SNES version especially.
Who again? Jesus. Okay. All right.
I think it's just
fine. I'll defend Shaq Fu one more time. Fuck Shaq Fu, but at the same time, it's one of the best. No, it's not one of best. It's
the best bad game.
Bring it. No, it's yeah, exactly. It's the best bad game that is not. Oh God.
It's not Time Killers.
It's not. Say. No, it's not Time Tracks. It's not Time Killers. It's not any of those things.
It's not Power Moves. It's not fucking. Oh God, what are those?
Fine, bring all of your shit. It's all. Oh geez.
It's all terrible if it's not called Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat.
I just don't get why that particular, like I said, when there were so many other really bad ones, maybe just because it got pushed so hard. I just don't get
I think that's the big reason is because it's because of Shaq. I think it's because it's like, oh, okay, this guy was the guy behind all this it's because of Shaq, basically.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason why.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Like, it's not like Rise of the Robots is 1,000 times worse, but it's also the one that, unless you're British, most people, like, you can't talk to a normie in North America and bring that game up because no one's going to know what the hell it is. But then you play and you're like, oh God, this is, I crave Shaq Fu at this point. Please, for the love of God, give me this quality. And I mean, we played on a CDI, so. Ooh.
And other celebrity games, I mean, Jim and I have said was it the NES, Jim? The Wayne Gretzky hockey is
still the worst game we've ever played.
Yeah, that's terrible. Like, so it seems like sometimes, but then you had like Moonwalker, which was fine. Like, I don't think it was necessarily amazing or bad, but it's like most of the time, if you tie a celebrity name to it, it's probably not going to be amazing. And for some reason, Shaq Fu has stood the test of time of people hating on it. It's just very odd to me. I never understood that. But yeah. So Jim, before we move on, so I finished both of these Psycho Thrillers, and I gotta say, Jim, you would definitely love the shit out of this.
All right.
And how far are you on your first beer?
Oh, I already killed it off.
Okay, good. What'd you think of it?
You know what? For a tropical IPA, you get the little citrus hit at the aftertaste. It's a smooth drinking IPA. I think we've drank so many goddamn IPAs at this point that it's really tough to stand out for either of us. But yeah, it's a perfectly fine drinking IPA. I think it's better for a beginner if they don't typically like the stronger, more hoppier ones. This will be a good one to go for.
Nice. Now, Alex, how's the mojito can coming?
Oh, Alex, did we lose you?
Hello, just doing just fine. Thank you.
All right, so now this is the point where Jim is going to read off our Patreon questions. And before he does, I just want to say thank you to everyone who supports us. Truly appreciate it. And with some of the things out of my way, we're going to get back to getting more regular with our tier list and getting them back on our site. So thank you once again, everyone.
Yep. Seriously, thank you guys. For the love of God, we don't deserve your money. But please keep sending it. Anyway, DrinkABeerandPlayAGame.com on Patreon, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question that we'll answer on each and every single Power Hour podcast. So, first up, your buddy and mine, a guy I guess we're gonna have to give him producer credit on this episode, Gamer Astral, with the favorite Zelda and give 3 reasons why. Harumph.
Jim, I'll let you go first.
Balls. I guess I'm gonna have to go Ocarina, the basic bitch answer, just because it's the one I've played the most. It's the one I actually grew up with, being a Genesis boy. So my 3 reasons would be, back in the day, the story sucked me in, and it was nothing that I had ever played before. So big time with nostalgia. The soundtrack in that one's legendary, whether it's the little Ocarina tunes or the overworld themes and everything like that. And 3rd reason, and it's a hell of a lot better than Majora's Mask, so there you go.
Alex, do you have an answer for this guy? Oh, did we lose him again? I think we lost him, so I'll go. For me, I guess it's going to be actually very odd. I've said it many times on here. I'm not the biggest Legend of Zelda fan or person. I played a couple of them, but the only one I've beaten all the way through is the original. I played pretty far into Link to the Past. Never played Ocarina. I've played Breath of the Wild, and that game is wildly overrated. I don't care how much you want to hate me for that.
I think a lot would agree with you.
Yeah, I really think the original, for me, just the music, and it was one of the reasons why I created the video, top 10 most beer worthy moments, because that game has so many key moments from that generation that really set the mold for what an adventure game could be, that I just didn't experience anymore. And honestly, I didn't have the time to really go into it. So I'll go with that one. That original theme is still one of the more timeless classic soundtracks in my mind. All right, so thank you, Astral, for the question. Sorry, we're not bigger Zelda fanboys, but what's the next one, Jim?
Next up, from Game Whisperer Dean. Lots of Payday 3 talk online lately. Excited?
No, I honestly, Payday to me never paid off as a game that I enjoyed that much. It felt like a weird knockoff of Army of Two and Grand Theft Auto and some of these other games mixed together. I'm excited if other people are excited, let's put it that way, but me personally, I doubt I'll ever even pick it up unless it's free on Xbox Game Pass or something like that.
Yeah, my one buddy, he loves Payday 2. Like, he played the shit out of it. Played a lot of it on Switch, too. And it's just one that I never got around to picking up. Oh, boo, boo, boo. But, yeah, I haven't looked into it at all, so I have no strong opinions one way or the other.
You never will.
I will probably never get around to it unless we do it, which we probably won't, so I probably never will.
Yeah, exactly. But thank you for the question, bud.
Yep. And then last up from Alex Perez, what are 3 games that you like that are exclusive to a console that you don't like?
Wait. 3 games that we like that are exclusive to a console we don't like?
Yeah. Which is kind of tough because I can't think of...
I don't have any console I don't like. Let's put it that way.
Or at least that I have like a fair knowledge of. Like, I know of the Jaguar, but I've never played it.
Yeah, but if you've never played a game on it, how would you know if you like a game for it?
It's a good point, too. Like, maybe if I'm interested, I would love to play that Attack of the Mutant Penguins on it, but I don't have one. I'm not going to spend the money on it.
You know what? Let's go with that. Let's go with consoles we don't have. Not necessarily don't, because I think you and I can both agree. Anything we own, we don't really dislike a console. It's really all about the game. So I'll say I really want to play, when you said Jaguar, I was thinking Alien vs. Predator, because I know that's supposed to be one of the best versions of that game from that era. I was always kind of interested in, there are a few, what was that one game? Was it the Sega CD or was it Jaguar? That was that zombie killer game?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking
Sega
about?
CD, what, the rail shooter one?
Yeah.
Corpse Killer.
Corpse Killer, that's it.
That was
Is that Sega CD?
That was CD, and then there was also a combo version for Sega CD and 32X, which had better resolution.
Okay. That's a game I was always, I remember seeing the cover as a kid, but not having it, for rental, and I was like, ooh, this is right up my alley. Never got to play it. And I guess the only other one would be... Oh, I throw this out here. It's not for a console I hate, but I don't like that there's an Underworld game for the PS2, but it's European exclusive.
Is there one?
Yes, and that's one series I was always like, why don't they make games for this? It's a very obvious, easy game to make, or a franchise to make games for, but it's European exclusive. It essentially, from what I saw, was almost not, I don't want to say full Devil May Cry, not that cartoony, but kind of hack and slash shoot at the same time. And maybe I could figure out an easy way to convert my regular PS2 Slim to play it. I just never looked into it, and that's one game I've always really wanted to play.
Yeah, I guess for games I never got to play for different consoles. Like I already said, that Attack the Mutant Penguins, they're just like, it looks so fucking weird that like I know I'd probably love it.
That looks like almost Toe Jam and Earl to me.
Kind of, yeah, it is Toe Jam and Earlish.
Yeah,
and then with 3DO, I would like, besides Road Rash, which I've already kind of played, but I hear the best versions on the 3DO. It's not Burn Cycle, that's the CDI killer app, but there's some. No, you know what? I would love to play like a random one of those rail shooters on like the Pioneer Laser Active, just because it's such a weird fucking niche console. That's like the dream console that I always have, that like I would love to find a Goodwill one day and just be like, oh.
I thought you always wanted Vectrex.
Oh, I mean, I would love that as well, but I'm not like I'm not gonna find a Vectrex at a Goodwill and them not know that it's a Vectrex. Whereas a Laser Active, they can be like, oh, this is just some shitty Laserdisc player, and just put it out there for maybe $10 or $20.
Like your 3DO?
No, like my CDI.
Or that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd love one of those like not like any of the games on there are any bit that good, but it would just be such a weird thing to have. And then I would get the I don't know if you know anything about the Laser Active, but it's got these modules for it too that'll let you. One will let you play Sega Genesis games with Sega Genesis controllers. One will let you play PC Engine, and then one's like a karaoke module that you can like slip in and out of there. And they're expensive, but it's just such a weird niche kind of thing. And apparently it has like the best quality for composite video of anything from its era, so it's just a weird fucking thing in general. But then,
so Jim, would you say that was the original? What's that new console that's coming out that you and I talked about many times?
Polymega.
With all Polymega, was that the original Polymega?
Kind of. And it used real hardware too.
Damn it.
And then last up, you know what? I would love to play fucking. Oh god, what is that one called? On the. Nah, wait, no, fuck that. I was about to say that one on the Virtual Boy, but I can't think of anything I want to play that badly.
No, there's nothing on the Virtual Boy that's like, oh my god, I really want to play that.
Yeah, you know what? You know what I do really want to play, because I've never had a Saturn. I don't have a Saturn. I would really like to play Fighters Mega Mix. That looks like such goddamn fun time. I want to be the Daytona car and fight like things from Virtual Fighter and those other fighting series.
Yeah, it's goofy. I am a sucker for goofy things in fighting games, so I can't lie. But no, it's a good question. But yeah, it's just tough, Alex, to answer anything that, like you said, Jim and I, we might give each other shit for consoles, but we don't hate any console in particular.
Yeah, there's always something at least interesting that you can find out of them. So I would rather take interesting over like generic and boring any day.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah,
so, that'll questions.
And that rounds up the Patreon questions for this week. So once again, patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame. $2 a month. You can ask a question that we will answer.
Absolutely.
Yep. And I guess until he gets back, like if he comes back, we can go through the questions again. But if you want to do it in like 3, 2, 1. And yeah, Alex SNES Drunk was with us, but we don't know what happened. I guess there's some kind of computer issue he's going with on his end, because his call dropped out, but he's still here in Skype. So if he comes back in, we'll have him just hop back in, and in the meantime, we'll just keep going as normal.
Absolutely.
And if for whatever reason he can't come back, thank you so much. We'll try to have him back on again at a later time. And it's just one of those things where computers always fuck us. What can I say?
Technical issues. It sucks. But Jim, so you actually posted this here. One of our recurring bits, and I've said it multiple times, but it is one of my favorite. Gaming music. And when we say this, we mean either gaming music that was inspired by real life music, or vice versa, a real song that seems to be inspired by a game song. And this one was actually suggested to us by Deneen Nick, and it's an interesting one because I've definitely, prior to this, never heard of it. But
me either.
The original song that inspired many games, it seems like, comes to us from the Yellow Magic Orchestra. And the song is called Firecracker. The link is below. Take a minute, listen to it. But we have a few different things that seem to be inspired directly from it. Now, one is a very clear inspiration. And Jim, I'll let you explain that.
Yeah, so the one that Deneen Nick, and thank you very much for saying this to us on Twitter. Way of the Exploding Fist on the BBC Micro, which is probably the most obscure thing that we have talked about on this page now.
Which I never knew what the hell that was before this.
That is one of those many hundreds of British, European microcomputers that were
computers,
out there.
Yeah.
So think the Spectrum, but from the footage I saw of this game, looks like it's a little bit better. Might be a little bit more powerful. It was a game that almost like reminded me of like Karate Champ looking at the gameplay itself.
Yeah, that's what I thought right away.
Yeah, it's like Karate Champ, but, good. Or at least passable, probably. But, yeah, it had this music going on, and it is very much, pretty much a straight rip of this song. And Firecracker was from 1978 or something, I want to say. So that was definitely the inspiration for it. And when I was listening to it, the first thing that came into my head, I was like, this kind of sounds like fucking E Honda's theme. Now, I don't know if I'm being racist just because it's Asian sounding music, or if it might have been directly inspired. Who's to say? I don't know.
So the theme I put below, what Jim is referencing, specifically is from the Super NES. And when I first heard it, I was like, all right, Jim's just crazy again. There's a tiny bit of the melody that if you really slowed it down, the tempo was way slower than Firecracker. The general melody is just kind of there. And like you said, you have to look at the links side by side and really determine for yourself. It's nowhere near as clear as Way of the Exploding Fist or even the next one we're going to present. But we wanted to have you guys weigh in. So click the E Honda link below after listening to Firecracker. See if you guys agree or disagree. But the next one, Jim, I'm going to be honest. This one confused the shit out of me. Because the J-Lo song, I'm Real...
It sampled it. It sampled Firecracker.
It definitely sampled this. But here's where I was blown off. I never knew this song existed because when I heard I'm Real, I only think of the remix.
Yeah.
With Ja Rule.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know this was like a remix of a song generally, especially when you add a rapper to it.
Apparently,
it's...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, like generally, it'll hold some things similar. This is a completely different fucking song. So not, that I was ever a huge J-Lo fan, but I knew the song I'm Real, which I rule really well. So right away, I would hear that beat in my head, and I'm like, that's not similar at all. And then I heard this song, and yeah, they sampled the shit out of it, and which is very common for especially rap or hip-hop or pop songs. They sample songs all the time. It's very apparent and very clear, but... Yeah, I don't know. What did you think, Jim? Or how did you find out about that is what I'm curious.
When I was looking at the comments on Firecracker itself, they were like, oh, well, yeah, if I came here for this, before Mariah Carey and J-Lo both sampled it. So, apparently, there's a weird fucked up story behind this, where this original version for J-Lo for I'm Real was a direct sample, and I guess that version bombed as a single. So then they did a really quick remix with Ja Rule in it, and that's the one that everyone knows. And it doesn't sound anything like it. And then apparently, fucking Loverboy by Mariah Carey apparently sampled a little bit off of the original I'm Real by J-Lo, which sampled off of Firecracker. So tangentially, Loverboy sampled off of Firecracker, even though if you listen to both of them together, the original versions, it doesn't really sound like it. But there's also a version of Loverboy on the Glitter soundtrack, which I think is a little different, which might be a little bit closer to Firecracker. So it's a whole mishmash of fuckery going on there. And I got very confused.
Yeah.
So I was trying to listen to Loverboy and comparing it to Firecracker, and I was like, I don't hear it. And I can, I'm better between the two of us of picking out, little musical threads and being like, okay, that's where they stole it from. And even I was struggling with this one. So maybe it's a version I just haven't found yet. And there's also a fuckload of fan-made versions that overdubs Firecracker onto Loverboy for internet reasons, because people are, I don't know why.
Of course.
And so I saw 1,000 of those, and I'm just sitting here going, so my brain kind of burned out a little bit after a while. But yeah, if you want to go down a deep rabbit hole of songs and finding what can be inspired by it, go for Firecracker.
Yeah, it's... I never heard of Yellow Magic Orchestra, never heard of Firecracker, but apparently it was a little bit of a very big inspiration for a few things. So
the original K-pop? I don't know. I don't know which country they come from.
Well, Jim, they're not Korean, so no, they're Japanese, you son of a bitch.
Are they? Oh, okay. J-pop.
As it says on the video, made in Japan.
Oh, really? Oh, I probably should have looked at that.
You probably should have.
Well, I'll be goddamned. Oh, it says it right in the top corner, doesn't it?
Party hard. It says it right away.
I love the pillows. I don't know what you're talking about. They're a great band.
Oh, you son of a bitch. So, once again, Deneen, Nick, thank you. We love topics like this. So, anyone out there, if you're listening, if you know any examples, please send them our way. At some point, we're going to hit up as many of them as we can find. So, thank you once again.
Yep. And if you want to rack your brain, check all these out. That's all I can say.
Oh, man. Speaking about racking your brain, Jim. What is a... Man, what's a game that people have been wanting for a while and you would think is well on its way to being finished?
Right. Would this happen to be a game that was announced 2 years ago?
It might be. It very well might be.
Because there's a game.
It's only a game that people have begged for how long now? Because when was the last one released?
It was like almost a launch game on the Wii.
Yeah. So if you haven't guessed it,
Metroid Prime 4!
We're talking about... Thank you, Jim. You son of a bitch. The last game, which was Metroid Prime 3, came out in 2007, Jim.
So a little bit after the Wii.
It's the Wii, but essentially, Metroid Prime 4
got announced in June of 2017
for a while, and they very recently, I don't think there's a few different articles. Some are in August. Most of them are July or August, let's put it this way. But they have put out a request, if you will, or put out job offerings for a lead producer.
Dude, they've put
to
out...
help join on their journey to develop Metroid Prime 4. Now, this comes directly... August 14th is the exact date. From Retro Studios, which is the studio that's developing Metroid Prime 4. And if you look on one of their links, and Jim has it linked below...
If you want a job to develop Metroid Prime 4, they have a lot of job openings, which makes me think you haven't done shit yet. Because they are looking for...
they don't only have the lead producer. What else do they have, Jim?
Well, Brian, they have the lead graphics engineer. They have a senior level designer, lead animator, boss AI designer, because, I mean, if you don't have an AI yet, I'm sure you're doing great. Engineering department producer, level 4 lighting artist, lead producer, as we've said, lead lighting artist, concept artist. Concept artist? You don't have a concept artist after 2 years?
That's the one that honestly, it was disturbing to see lead producer. Now, granted, that could easily be...
A producer could leave.
Surmised.
It can happen.
Exactly. But when you throw in anything at the level of concept, now granted, they could have something really far advanced and they need just final touches and they just, for whatever reason, but to have that many specific, to be fair, if I'm going to try to give this group any credit, their Twitter post was only about the lead producer specific to Metroid Prime. But the fact that they just happen to also have all these other things. So was there either just a mass exodus? Did all these people get bought up from other studios? Like, I don't know what exactly happened, but it just really sucks for them that they've been in development for this long. And it's not like they've done nothing since Metroid Prime 3. They did the Metroid Prime trilogy, which, okay, you bundled a game. Donkey Kong Country Returns.
They gave Wii controls to the original games. Fine.
Yeah. Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS. Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D on the 3DS.
They've had good games.
So they you know, but the last one was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on the Switch. So they're not doing nothing, but it just is disheartening for anyone out there who is a huge Metroid Prime fan. And that is one of those franchises and specific series in the Metroid world that has been clamoring and begging for a new game since 2007. So just kind of sucks that they're specifically asking. I don't know. Is that kind of a weird look for them? Is this maybe a way of them? Is this? But here's my question: do you think is there any chance this is a red herring? Like they're doing it to kind of just draw attention to the game? Maybe they're actually further along than they're giving off. Am I thinking that?
I hope.
Or do you really think they're just desperate?
I would really hope that it is a red herring, but as far as I can tell right now, I haven't seen anything to say that it's not. I mean, maybe they can have a super surprise reveal at the next Nintendo Direct and be like, surprise, motherfuckers, the game's coming out next year, which, cool. But from what I'm seeing here, this is actually, like, legitimately job postings. Yeah, you're not getting this game until the very end of this console's life cycle. I hate to tell you that.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
I'm not huge on Metroid Prime, so I don't really care, but there's a shitload of Metroid Prime fans out there, so I'm surprised it didn't get more traction than it did. It was like another one of those things that like was out for a day and people were like, oh, that's weird. Now I'm looking at it like, no, this means they've done nothing.
Yeah, like I think some people are overlooking what this potentially means, and maybe we're overlooking how much it means. There's
maybe we're ultra looking. Is that a word?
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Like it's just very, very odd that that's what they post and request. Cause, I don't know. We'll see. This is something we'll follow. We'll see as they release. Like Jim said, maybe there's a trailer going to be released at the next Nintendo Direct, and we're completely wrong. I have no idea. But get your shit together, Retro Studios. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, people are dependent on you. People are worrying about you. You want to see a game? Maybe give them a game. I don't know. I'm just like...
And here's one advantage, and tell me if I'm wrong, Jim.
You are.
With titles like that people of series that people have so much nostalgia to, you can almost get away with not releasing the most amazing title ever, and people will still buy it. Might bitch a little bit, but it's not going to kill the whole series.
See, here's the thing on that. One, people have been wanting another Metroid Prime for a long time, and two, Metroid's in a bad spot right now. Like, the last couple releases, you had Federation Force, which is the game no one wanted, and you had Metroid Other M, which pissed everyone off. So,
yeah.
I mean, they had the remake of Metroid 2 Return of Samus on the 3DS, which people liked, but there's controversy with that because there was a fan-made one that Nintendo shut down to put theirs out. So, Metroid's in a weird spot right now. Like, it's not like they, quote-unquote, need a hit, but it'll be pretty nice to see a game come out and be, done and good. Like, I don't think that's one of those series that you can just put out schlock and people will just be like, you guys. Like, people want a good Metroid at this point.
Maybe you're right. Now let me ask you, am I wrong in thinking, what if they just did like a 180 and decided we're going to remake kind of Metroid Prime in the style of think like Doom, like the new Doom and Doom Eternal.
Oh,
like
I would love
do
that.
It like do it like first person, like, because really I don't think people appreciate it enough. Like, Metroid is, for all intents and purposes, it's kind of a horror game, a suspense, very like isolated.
Oh, it's very
aliens.
moody. Even the first couple, the Prime games, like putting you first person in these like isolated worlds, like it's moody. It's more colorful and less horror, like straight up, but there's definitely a mood there.
So like if you took like how Doom did their game and just did it with Metroid, and you add the powers and the puzzle solving and the non-linearness, dude, I think that could be a home run. Like, and I don't get why they wouldn't try. Maybe they feel like it would be too much of a veering from the original content, but I don't know, man. Like, go for broke. Just try it out.
I mean, I would be 100% fine with that. So, yeah, give me a hard Metroid. That would be awesome. Because a lot of the music, like, my favorite Metroid, most people's favorite Metroid, it's Super Metroid. And the music in that is moody as fuck. So,
oh, dude, it's amazing. Yeah.
Like, if you went that route, I'd be perfectly fine with it. Just make it, if you want to make it a little darker, fine. As long as you pull it off, then...
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll watch. It'll eventually be a VR only game.
I mean, Nintendo's not going to have anything that's going to be pushing VR anytime soon, so.
Until they decide to do it, and it's like, here's joysticks you put up your butt, and now you can do VR.
Finally, VR for me.
And Jim's like, it's like the N64 controller.
It's like riding a bike. It's like nothing new at all.
Damn it. Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all.
Look, Brian, I've prepared my rectal muscles for years for this moment.
Damn it, Jim. That's not a sentence I ever want you to say out loud or me have heard, you son of a bitch.
Well, you better hope Alex comes back, because then you can cut that out. But in the meantime...
all right. So let us know what you think below, guys. If any of you are some of the folks who really was waiting on Jim and I, we're not those people. So it doesn't affect us one way or another, but it's still interesting to comment on. So let us know your thoughts below.
Yep, please do.
But man, Jim, speaking about pissed off gamers.
Well, before we get to that, I finished my second beer.
Nice.
The I Miss Loud Tap Rooms double India Pale Ale, double IPA. Very, very good.
Don't be racist.
What?
Go on.
What? No, not gonna do it. Not getting canceled.
Just go on.
So no, it was really good. It was like definitely like a thicker.
Jim, what are you doing right now?
I'm sorry, it was 8.5%. It got me a little feeling good. It's a thicker, definitely like chunkier looking. It was almost Hefeweizeness when you look at it. Like it was definitely not like a typical looking IPA. Flavor wise, I can't tell you that anything particularly stood out from it, but very, very good. So if you're ever in any of the Frisco, Colorado, so a Coloradian beer, if you ever come across this one, it's got really cool, it's almost like a Beatles cover with the art style on the front of it. If you come across this one and you like some double IPAs, I'll say this is a must drink for that kind of fan.
Yeah. Nice.
The Outer Range Brewing Company. There you go. I can read.
I finished both my Psycho Thrill Seekers. They're, like you said, I haven't had a beer that I didn't enjoy from Flying Monkey so far. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the best double IPA, but it's above average, and it offers like a different type of flavor for a double IPA. Usually you're just getting bombarded with hops or whatever. This one, it balances it out everything really nicely. They call it cryo hopped. Everyone's doing something clever with their beers.
Of course.
I don't taste nothing that different that would suggest why cryo hopped is better or not.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. So
means
either
cold.
way, I guess. Yeah, they're freeze-dried hops, Jim.
Yeah.
It's like Demolition Man.
Yeah.
3 seashells.
Simon Says Drink.
All right, so before we move on, Jim and I, we both got 2 new beers. For me, I am going with one of the more German-sounding beers, the Koststreise Schwarzbier, which is basically a German black lager. As you can tell, dark as hell, decent amount of foam, but only 4.8% alcohol. And black lagers, other than having the dark appearance, I've never noticed anything, it's like the slightest tinge of a little bit more like roasted malt flavor of what a typical like Vienna style, think like Sam Adams Vienna style lagers would have. But yeah, they're very popular in Germany. Schwarzbiers, some American breweries try to replicate it, but Germany's the main place you would get these from. So I had one of these left and decided, fuck it. Like, I didn't feel like mixing another random IPA or something else crazy. So, Prost. Cheers to that. What are you drinking, Jim?
Brian, did you pick a German beer because TikTokers are pretending to be Holocaust survivors now?
Is that really a thing?
Yes, it is.
On one hand, I'm so happy because I'm not the internet person between you and I.
You should be.
But then
you should be
I
glad.
always get dragged in because of you one way or another. And like, I know just enough for it to really piss me off. What does that even mean? TikTokers are pretending to be.
They're not going into blackface, but they like scuff up their makeup and shit like that and try to say they're like Auschwitz or something. I didn't look into it too deep, That's one of those headlines that I saw, and I'm just like, did the have a what?
And this is one of the reasons why, like, I feel no sympathy or feel bad that may be banned from the U.S. or whatever the hell is going to happen with TikTok. If people are doing stupid shit like that, man.
Say what you will about Trump, and there's a lot you can say, but I don't know, man. I think getting rid of Vine when that went away made the world a little bit of a better place. It might be TikTok's time.
It may be. TikTok is Vine 2.0.
Oh,
there's nothing else about it. But god damn it.
And when and if it goes away, you're going to see that flood to YouTube of all those, talentless TikTokers, and, they're all going to bomb, and we'll still be here with our no numbers.
Well, the better thing that makes my heart warm is when those type of people, whether they were TikTokers, YouTubers, whatever, think they can do like stand-up comedy, and then they completely bomb with that.
Oh,
that's
God.
My favorite.
Well, I mean,
that warms my heart.
I mean, unless you have the right connection, looking at you, Brennan Schaub, you should not be on a goddamn stand-up comedy stage, for fuck's sake.
It's just, I mean, it's one of those things. Everyone thinks it's so easy. It's like
everyone thinks it's so goddamn easy, but I mean, I've never talked about it here before, but I've done 3 open mics in my life. I did one when we were still in college, and it went okay. And then I did one like 3 years later, and I did the same set, and it still went okay. And then the next week I went and I did brand new material, and I ate my ass for 3 minutes. Nothing landed, straight bombing, and I never went back. Like, I've done a lot of embarrassing things to myself, but fucking bombing on stage like that, and I'm only doing it in front of a bunch of open micers who are like, it's another bunch of people who are not gonna statistically ever make anything of themselves anyway. But even that kind of feeling of just all the attention's on you and you're just eating shit, anyone who could do that and persevere and go through and keep trying to do it, I have crazy respect for you. But yeah, a lot of these people who try to do it, yeah, you shouldn't be doing it.
Well, it's the same idea as like someone who's like, I was pretty good at football in high school and college. I could probably do the NFL. Like, that's a little bit of an extreme case, but it's the same people like, well, all my friends say I'm pretty funny and I make everyone laugh, so I can do that. Like,
that's what it is.
It's like, no. You don't realize that the Kevin Harts of this world, the Dave Chappelle's, all these fucking crazy, amazing performers, they did eat shit for a long time, and they've been developing this over many, many, many years, and they have things that you just will never have. They have the ability to entertain. Like, even YouTubers, like, some of it is lucky breaks, other is like, some people are just been working at it long enough, they know the right way to entertain their guests, but it's like completely different doing it live versus an edited video that you can add cute cuts to that entertain people.
Well,
and that's why I said it warms my heart when TikTokers of all people who are making 7-second videos or whatever it is, then try to like convert that into something else.
Yeah, you can say this or that about this guy's more talented or whatever, but the people who are more famous as entertainers are the ones who are more famous for a reason. Let's just put it that way. Like,
exactly.
But yeah, so back to brass tacks. My last beer is going to be the Sierra Nevada Wild Little Thing Slightly Sour Ale. It is 5.
Never tried that one.
Yeah, it's 5.5%, and I didn't even know this existed. But my wife's uncle, he's a beer connoisseur, and anytime like I'm up there for family parties, like we just shoot the shit about beer for a little while. So he's like, "Oh, I've been drinking this one. I know you like sours. Here, give this one a shot." So I'm like, "Okay," and I've never had it before, so it's my first time. And you'll see on the video, this is red as hell, slightly hazy, not a lot of carbonation, not a lot of head, but interesting little aroma to it.
What style is it?
It is a slightly sour ale. And so it's got guava, hibiscus, and strawberry.
What's the name again? Slightly sour?
The Wild Little Thing.
Oh, Wild Little Thing.
And here's where I can see it. It tastes like an ale, but you get that very, very, and probably because it's a Sierra Nevada too, it's very faint. You get that tiny little bit of tartness from the strawberry, which is what I'm going to guess they're basing the sourness off of. Like, there's almost no... If you're a sour connoisseur, there's, like, almost none to be here. But you get a little taste of strawberry and that little fruit tartness to it, so it's all right.
Nice.
But
yeah,
but
and
for a color,
as
like
I
that
said,
is red as shit. Like that is way different than what I'm used to. It's almost like it almost looks like a fucking wine cooler, if I could be so brave.
yeah. Yeah, and as I said about the Schwartz beer, like I said, it's just roasted malts, but very, very drinkable, easy to go down. If you ever want to try a different style of regular lager and, yeah, you want to be brave, if you can find that, give it a try. All right, but let's move on. So I've tried to transition, and Jim, you correctly stopped me a few times.
Stomped all over it.
But, all right, so we previously just wrapped up with the Metroid Prime talk, which got enough people pissed off.
Look, Bri, let's put it this way. Metroid Prime, Samus Aran, woman in a video game. Bri, did you know that there's a chance that women play games? Because I hear this myth, but I just
That's
go,
a lie.
No.
They just hold controllers. What are you talking about?
They just pretend they're with their, they just want to make their men's happy and just hold a controller with them. You know how they be. But yes, one of my favorite recurring bits is Gamers Mad. And this time I can see where the gamers are coming from. Because there was an article that was put out by Parade Magazine of 25 games for women. And at first, no one knew about this article, but then E3 tweeted it out. And that's when it really blew up. And this happened, we're recording this on the 24th.
Yeah.
Pardon me. This happened the week before.
August 14th.
August 14th?
When it came out.
Okay.
Yep.
So, not only was this an instant blow up and fuck up, it was so bad that the day that it blew up, Parade took the article down, and luckily for us, the internet exists. And luckily for us, Google Cache exists, because this list is still around and we can talk about it. So,
yeah.
Brian, this was written by a Nicole Pager. I know nothing about this woman.
Yep. Nope.
But she made a list of 25 free games, free online games for women.
Wait, Jim. Let's clear one thing up. The title of the article is "The Games We Play!" Exclamation point. 25 online games that women enjoy. So, it's very specific. It's online games. So, they're not necessarily all free. I don't know if that's true.
No,
yeah, they're not all free. No. But it's specifically meant to be online games, so it doesn't cover everything. And as Jim said, this is written by Nicole Pager. Don't know nothing. We're not going to bother researching it. But
sure.
As the article starts
on a good note. Starts on a very empowering note for women.
It's just basically saying girls love gaming just as much as men. Right. And according to a report,
you can't call them girl gamers because that's derogatory. They're women gamers. They're just as much gamers as us. We can just call ourselves all gamers because we can all come together and play Sudoku, Brian.
well, Jim, here's the one interesting thing I need to ask you.
Go on.
So they said that according to a report by Entertainment Software Association, of the total 214 million players in the U.S., which right there alone,
that's almost two-thirds. That's like over 50% of America.
Which seems reasonable. And their metric for what a player is it someone who just only looks at their phone and maybe plays one or two games? Or is it who knows what that metric means? But according to this, 41% of that was female. And 77% of the women ages 35 to 54 say playing games helps them to relax. And that 78% are using their downtime to hop on the alternate worlds on their smartphone or devices. Now, Jim, not to criticize this particular association, but as we said, 214 million players. And it's probably safe to say, you said that's about 2/3 of America.
I think America's around 330, 360 in population,
something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would assume most female or even male players are probably located on the coast. Like if you bulk numbers, right? Like across the Midwest. I'm not saying
I don't think a farmhand could have a cell phone. You never know. But
I'm not even, and this is not anything derogatory. I'm just saying, like, okay, if you say major population centers, you go to the coast, you can go Chicago, you can go Texas. There are areas in the middle, but for example, we're in Philadelphia. I work in a place that has 900 employees, let's just say, and 70% are female. I know maybe, and I have a lot of friends that are female, one woman that enjoys playing games. Others have maybe casually played once to twice. And this same statistic I could use across any girls I knew in high school, any girls I knew in grade school, and any girls I just know socially throughout whatever. I would not call any of them gamers. Just because you've ever picked up a controller doesn't mean whatever. Am I wrong in saying that from your experience as well, Jim?
I would have to agree.
That's just interesting to me that they're saying of these 214 million players, 41% are female.
I think they're they're including all kinds of games. So, like if you were going to say console or PC or quote unquote hardcore gamers,
I would just
what
say
they're considering a game at this point.
At a minimum,
what they're considering a game at this point? Questionable.
Yeah, so they're saying
stereotypical.
So she goes on to just basically say, while online games have no gender attached to them, many women enjoy everything from a puzzle quest to a sports match or fight-oriented game. There are some games that female players tend to gravitate to. So as you can see, and then she goes on to say, we surveyed game developers, pro gamers, and everyday players to bring you this list. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, Jim, I may be wrong. She's saying 25 free online games. Now, some of these games I didn't think were free. But
maybe there's versions that are free. I don't know.
I guess
maybe on a cell phone you're free.
You know, I'm just going to say I was wrong. I'll just say maybe there is some free games. So, then she starts it off, free games for women. What's number one, Jim?
Well, Brian already said it. It's Sudoku.
And what is Sudoku, Jim, for people who don't play it or don't know what the fuck that is?
Well, Brian, if I can be so brazen as to quote this article, in classic Sudoku, the objective is to fill a 9x9 grid with digits so that each column, each row, and each of the 9 3x3 subgrids that compose of the grid, also called quote-unquote boxes, blocks, or regions, contain all of the digits 1 to 9.
Jim, is it easy to just say that it's a mathematical puzzle game with a grid?
Right. It would be easier to say that it is next to the crossword puzzles in the daily paper.
Yes. That's exactly what it is. And here's the deal. Right or wrong, that is not the way to start. Like, I do know a lot of people. I did the shit out of Sudokus, not online, but off of papers and shit and books, because I was a nerdy engineering student and my buddy got me into it. But even if this is right, is that really the first game you're going to start this list off with?
Right.
And you think no one's going to be pissed off?
Gamers can number, okay? They're not just girl gamers, Brian. They're not just sitting in the kitchen. Well, they can number like the rest of us. God damn it.
Well, Jim, what's number 2?
Sayonara Wild Hearts?
It's per Brittany Lineage. So it's from a Facebook Gaming's product team, which Facebook Gaming tells you all you need to know about the sentence. It's also narrated.
Bitches love their Facebook. Am I right, fellas?
It's also narrated by Queen Latifah, which gives it an extra fun spin.
Wait, it is
available on the Switch, PS4, Apple Arcade, Xbox One. So
she is sassy.
It's available a few places. I have no idea what that game is. Never heard of it. So maybe we just don't understand women.
Maybe it's just going for a more casual audience for the start of this article. Maybe number 3 will redeem it.
The next one, I will absolutely say, this is one of the games where I said I knew a lot of people. Everyone with a cell phone just played this game, and it did include almost every female I knew, and that's Candy Crush Saga. So just the Candy Crush games. Let's just keep it simple.
Right.
And per the report, as of 2019, 64% of Candy Crush players were female. that was like one of those go-to. It's like having Snake on your, if you were nerdy enough like Jim and I to have TI-89s or TI-83s. Everyone had Candy Crush. Everyone played it, and that just happened to include females too. I don't know if it was necessarily female.
Well, Brian,
female oriented.
Apparently in 2019, 64% of the players were female. Though Candy Crush has been around for a while, so maybe that's one where men moved on, women stuck around. Who's to say? I don't know.
I haven't played that shit, and I haven't seen anyone play it in years, so I have no idea.
Brian, I would just like to say right now that I am an ally, and I am fully in support of whatever games these beautiful women would enjoy playing.
Oh, damn it, Jim. Oh, so you're not supporting the non-beautiful women, Jim? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, fuck the uggos.
Damn it, Jim! So the next one, I don't know what the fuck this game is. Harry Potter Wizards Unite, but here's what I will say.
This is an augmented reality game for your phone, Brian. Women love them some goddamn Harry Potter. I know
they do. You're not the internet guy, Brian. I think. But no. What I'm saying is, I fully agree. Of people I know who enjoy Harry Potter, it is overwhelmingly female. And by a large majority.
Brian, that sounds like something a Ravenclaw would say.
I hate you so much, Jim. Because I know you yourself only vaguely know what that means.
I saw 2 of the movies, and I had the first book read to us in 8th grade. I think that's about my experience with Harry Potter.
I've seen every movie, and
oh god,
they're fine.
I saw Half-Blood Prince. Half-Blood Prince was pretty good. That was a pretty good movie.
Jim, there's nothing wrong with the movies. The movies are just fine. Like, I don't know why anyone would hate on the movies. I would get anyone not wanting to watch them, but once you watch them, you're like, okay, it's fine. Like, I don't hate them. I don't love them. I get why some people would get obsessed with them, especially if you saw it at a young age, but it's like, yeah, it just, for whatever reason, it's, everyone I know who really enjoys it tends to be female.
Yep.
Just like the next game, I would argue.
Well, no, I will say this has you don't sell 20-some million copies in like 4 months without having across-the-board appeal for people, especially lockdown and fucking COVID.
Not saying cross the board. I'm not disagreeing there. I'm just saying few games have just as much hardcore females as they do males as this game.
Oh, yeah, the broads love it. Animal Crossing, New Horizons.
Damn it, Jim. Don't just say the broads love it and then go into the title.
Look, right. Far be it from me to say that, what can I say? They just love the game.
Finish that, Jim.
What can I say? Hey, they like the game. A lot of our friends, who are gamers, they enjoy the game. Their girlfriends enjoy the game. It's very approachable by all sides. I'm not saying anything out of untoward.
I've never played it, and neither has Jim.
I have weeds at home that I can fucking pick. I don't need to do it in a video game.
But yeah, for whatever reason, and this style of game, let me just say this because we'll probably fly by some of the other ones, is very common, and I've seen it just by a lot of people, regardless of men or women, but women are just lumped in there at this point. Overwatch is the next one.
I don't know where it's free. Maybe on phones?
I think,
or maybe multiplayer is free now?
Actually, thinking about it, I think multiplayer, just like how Call of Duty Warzone is free. Yeah. I think Overwatch technically is free, and then it's like all the add-on shit. And most people just buy the full version.
All right, makes sense.
So, I do agree. This is one of the FPS games out there. This is definitely tends to be a little heavier female oriented.
Even though I don't even think anyone really cares that much about Overwatch anymore, but whatever. But number 7, Solitaire.
This is another one where it's everyone I knew, if you had a computer, you just played it. And even if you were at work and like Jim, who's under goddamn crazy scrutiny at work, where you probably can't get many things for your computer, if you had the ability to play anything, it was probably Solitaire.
I know, I don't even have Solitaire on my computers at work.
Exactly.
Rip that shit right off.
I don't know anyone who doesn't like playing Solitaire when you don't have anything else to do. So it's just a weird one to add.
And number 8, Sims 4.
Right.
Makes sense.
Just like Animal Crossing, the whole simulation of a whole nother life and community and doing these repetitive actions. Many people played it, but yes, I think females flocked more towards that style than others. And the same goes for number 9, Stardew Valley. I put Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing right next to each other.
Yeah, it's a
Tell me where I'm wrong.
Farming simulator. I mean, maybe it's my upbringing in a metropolitan area, but apparently everyone wants to do their hard labor through a video game and not actually. So, I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't know. But, Jim, what the fuck is number 10?
Spelunky I've heard of. I think that's like a legitimate game. Like, it's an actual, like, platformer. I forget if it's a Metroidvania-ish game, but it's definitely, like, an old school, like they say, an old school platformer. Like, it's a real game. I don't know how it hit such a big female audience.
I've never heard
where it's free.
anything about it.
I've heard of it before, but I just don't really know that much about it.
You know what? I'm sorry. Let me correct myself. I'm looking at the picture. I have seen pictures of it, but I've never heard anyone talk about it. Maybe that's a better way.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. Number 11, Bejeweled Classic. What is this, 2003? What the fuck?
Well, I also like, once again, knowing that...
But diamonds are a girl's best friend, Bri. That's how they started.
Yes. Am I right, ladies?
Huh? Can't be mad. Woman wrote the article.
That's just very odd. So...
Periods,
It's
right?
another puzzle game. Damn it, Jim! It was enough what you said. All right.
But yeah, it's available on all the app stores because it's fucking ancient. So,
number 12 is Bang Dream Girls Band Party.
Well, who hasn't dreamed of banging a girl band, right? Is that the game?
It is basically a music game where you tap on your phone
I am
to
having
follow the
too
rhythm
much fun with
of
this
songs.
article.
You are loving it. So, I guess it's almost like Guitar Hero.
It's probably some kind of rhythm game.
Or Rock Party, but on your phone. It's a rhythm game for your phone.
Available on the App Store.
Once again, never heard of it.
Next up, Casino World.
Casino World.
Like slots?
What the fuck?
They sure do, don't they?
Girls. Oh, yeah, I'm just going to say, girls do like to gamble, Jim. Why is that?
Who's to say? I don't know, Bri. We all get our thrills.
You know what, Jim? I'm going to let you fully handle number 14.
What, Star Chef cooking game?
Yep.
Look, I mean, people like Cooking Mama. Maybe it's a very intuitive and enchanting.
Are you suggesting that females like cooking more than men, Jim?
I'm not saying they like it more or that they're predisposed to doing it more. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
No, Jim, go ahead. Keep going.
This is the reason there's an outrage at this article, Brian. What can I say? But, Brian, you can be the Star Chef.
I guess you can.
Goddamn Cain will finally teach them how to cook.
Oh, Jim, so here's the real question. Once again, I'm back to what the hell is number 15 with Tiny
This, I have no
Wings?
idea. No clue.
It's
a bona fide classic, apparently. What?
It's a bona fide classic where you beat your own score by playing a tiny bird, hopping from island to island before the sun sets.
But a bona fide classic in the mobile gaming world. Motherfucker, I spent a lot of time on my goddamn cell phone. I've never heard of this goddamn game.
I really don't know what this game
also,
is. Same as
bullshit,
number...
available on the App Store for $2. For $2. This is supposed to be a free game online article, so I call malarkey on that.
Yeah, the article has its own criticisms. But number 16, Payday. What the shit is Payday?
It has 13 million likes.
Wait. I'm sorry.
Oh, another farming game.
Farming simulator.
Man.
What? Okay, I know I'm going to sound like such an asshole here. What the hell was the name of the farming simulator on Facebook for a while?
Oh, fuck. What was
Remember,
that
it was
called?
so big.
Farmville.
How is that not on here? If all these
Because I think it's gone. I think it died.
Okay.
If this was like
Okay,
2016
so
or something,
one,
this would definitely be on there.
Oh, the next one, I really hate to agree with this article.
Wait, hold on. I'm scrolling.
So number 17 is the Kim Kardashian Hollywood Adventure. Here's the deal. I don't know if it was this specific game, but I remember a couple years ago hearing about Kim Kardashian releasing a game app.
She licensed her name out to it. She didn't even have anything to do with the game.
Yeah, it basically made ridiculous amounts of money.
She made $80 million just by licensing her likeness to it. Her alone, not even the whole game.
And I can promise you, there's no guy that was interested in doing that. Maybe some, whatever.
See, this is bullshit because if you could tell me that, in 5 years I could put my face on an App Store game and make $80 million, I let Ray J fuck me. Like, I don't have any fucking morals.
Jim, you don't quite have the same figure to really pull that off. Now,
look, Brian, I've got some tits. I've got some backside.
Damn
Things
it.
could happen. Just give me $80 million. I don't care.
So, at the end of the day, that's... Okay. Okay.
So, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I have no idea why women are so mad at this article. It seems perfectly reasonable to me.
To strengthen Jim's argument, though, about the way the article is written, number 18 is Harvest Moon Seeds of Memory. And the Harvest Moon games definitely tend to draw a more female audience.
And they were like the proto-Animal Crossing, too.
Yeah, but at the end, it says available on Apple App Store for $10 and Google Play for $15. That's not goddamn free. Why are you saying free? Like, either make a list about free games or don't. That's just... I don't like inconsistencies.
No, you do not. Next up, House Flipper. If you're a fan of anything on HGTV, this game might be your thing. The premise is that you flip houses and take on jobs to redecorate homes. Because women love decorating.
Written by a female, that's all we're going to say.
It was written by a female, can't be mad at us. What can I say?
It's not us. We're just repeating what the article is saying.
We are reading what the article says. Okay, maybe the women love decorating line wasn't in there, but the intent was there. Available on Steam for $18. So if you want to... Wow. Okay. Next up, Just Dance 2020. Yep. The game that will not die. The series that still comes out on the original Wii.
Jim, it says have fun and shake off the stress of the day and burn some calories in the process. Yeah, like you just said, I did not realize that game franchise was still out. So
not only is it still out,
once again,
it is still being released for the Wii, the original Wii, not even a Wii U. The original Wii got Just Dance 2020.
And it's available on the Switch for $40. Once again, not free. So the next one, I'm just going to go ahead and keep moving us along.
Disney Code Illusion?
Disney...
What the fuck is this?
What is that?
Who says coding is just for males? Disney definitely doesn't. This online game teaches players computer coding lessons by incorporating famous Disney characters and scenes. See, Brian, women aren't able to learn technology unless you have their favorite princess teach it for them. If you walk them through it, and it's available on Windows and Apple for $30 a month. It almost sells
$30 a month? What the fuck?
Well, if you get a
70% of all people who have purchased Disney Code Illusion are female. Then girls, females, women, I don't care. You're getting bamboozled for $30 goddamn a month. What the hell?
Look,
don't pay that. You can learn the code for free off of goddamn YouTube.
Bri, you can't say learn to code. That's a dog whistle for the alt-right. You just can't say that to people.
Jim, you just said a whole lot of words. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You were so lucky you're not the internet guy.
I am very lucky. But I just... Okay. I didn't know coding was such a big want for all the females out there, and they felt like they couldn't do it, that they need to pay $30 a month to goddamn Disney Code Illusion.
Well, Bri, if Aurora can do it, why can't they?
Once again, I don't know what that reference means, so
I think Aurora's Sleeping Beauty. I think she's that one.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, no one ever knows her as Aurora. They always just know her as Sleeping Beauty, so I had to make it a little vague.
That's true. All right, 22,
I have nieces,
the game of life. Yeah, sure, that's the reason, Jim.
Right. Don't judge my fappery. 22, the
I'll
game of
judge
life.
everything about you.
I mean, Game of Life.
So,
perfectly good board game.
It's a board game.
It's a fun game.
I mean, here's one thing, Jim. Can you disagree?
Yes.
Of online games that, like, when they convert board games into online games, it does tend to be a bit female driven.
A little bit. I mean, I'm not going to say that my wife hasn't been playing a lot of Uno on the Switch in the last couple weeks. I'm not going to say this or that. I'm saying things happen. Things are approachable.
I only need one anecdotal approval to prove I'm right, Jim. So thank you.
Look, Brian, if you're sitting here trying to say that the female brain's more geared towards the simpler games of the world, then you're one anecdotal evidence.
Yeah, Yeah, why don't you finish that sentence?
I have nothing to say, Brian. This is what you're saying. I didn't say a goddamn thing. The
Jim,
article said it.
Number 23. What the fuck is Drawful 2?
I think Drawful is... It's a fun game for your... I think it's like...
It's a fun game for your friends that love to mark up their Instagram stories or relax with some adult coloring books.
Oh, God.
This is a create-your-own episode feature which allows you to craft rounds around a friend's bridal shower or to be the perfect addition to a bachelorette party.
Right.
What the fuck?
I can't see why anyone's mad at this article. I just think it's very approachable. Like, when I hear Drawful, I'm just like, okay, maybe it's like mobile version of Pictionary or some shit like that. But then you get into the, oh, God, adult coloring books. Really?
All right, Jim. What's number 24?
Love letter? Look, if you are the suitor and are competing the bachelor style, because women love some fucking bachelor, am I right? To get your love letter to the princess. Because, of course, there's a princess. Now you must bluff, draw, and play for her affection. This game's a personal favorite for Kristen Siskel? Founder of the game-oriented blog Cats and Dice, because of course cats.
All right, move on. I'm done with that one.
Who often plays with her mother.
Nope.
Her husband into playing alongside her.
We're done.
I'm sure her husband and their bull love playing this game. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Number 25, Tetris.
Who doesn't love Tetris?
Really?
Tetris? Very
I was gonna say, I was gonna say, who doesn't love Tetris?
Why couldn't this be one?
Be honest.
Why couldn't this be one?
All right, all right. So Jim, here's
what they should have done. If they
you.
did Tetris 1, Overwatch 2, maybe The Sims 3, and then you go into Kim Kardashian and
No. Here's the deal.
Stardew Valley.
I would say of this list, Tetris number 1. That's a stupid one to put out there at all. I would say if you from my experience with the girls I talk to, I would say you could throw in The Sims. You could throw in Overwatch. You could throw in... Honestly, there's a couple of Legend of Zeldas that seem to be popular.
I am shocked that Zelda is not on here. If you want to talk women in gaming, how the fuck do you not have a Zelda article on here? Which, judging by this article, obviously it isn't a real hardcore gamer who wrote this.
Yeah. But no, Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, Sims... Harry Potter, I'm fine that they put one of them on, the Kim Kardashian one, Candy Crush. Makes sense. But it's like, I don't know. Like,
look, Brian, I'm sure
it's just...
The Cooking Simulator makes the most sense, obviously, from what this article is coming across with.
So, yeah, it got pulled, as Jim said. It got hate. I feel like, though, no matter what games, honestly, would have been put up here, even if you're a female writing this list... There's no chance you're not going to catch some shit for here, right?
Yeah, you would catch shit anyway, but I think if you had, like, an actual Twitch streamer, like, even the ones that, like, I think, like, someone as universally hated as, like, Pokimane or Alinity could put a list together that had been way more accepted than this one would have been.
Well, I'm looking at, I'm looking at this, the writer of the article. Freelance article for basically all the big ones: New York Times, Parade, Playboy, Rolling Stone, Men's Journal, HuffPost, Animal Lover, Music Junkie, Travel Addict. So yeah, maybe she's not the best one to talk about video games. You know what? What's sad is I know nothing about what Parade magazine puts out there, but it's clear they just said like we should throw something out there about video games for women. They pick someone, like, instead of taking it serious and not realizing that there is such a huge and dedicated audience to gaming that they didn't give this a legit person to write it. It just shows the constant, like, they're underestimating the value of gaming. And if they took a little bit of time, got someone real here.
Dude, what do you call it? Okay, I don't know if you grew up with it, but when you were growing up, were your parents the ones who would buy the Sunday paper every week?
I think so.
So do you remember?
Do
you remember that like kind of quasi magazine that would come inside every Sunday paper?
That I knew. Other than seeing my mom or dad with the paper, I didn't go into
Okay, that's Parade. Like that's what Parade is.
Huh.
So the website is Parade: entertainment, recipes, health, life, holidays. But as soon as I saw the thing about the Sunday paper just like clicked for me, I was like, holy fuck, like I grew up with this shit sitting in our bathrooms for like poop reading. Like this is not who should be talking about video games. So I can completely see where this article comes from. But oh my, they did not know the shitstorm that was going to be coming to them, obviously.
Like, you and I have seen a lot of stupid articles from, like, Forbes, New York Times. And even though they get someone who might be a little more in tune, it's not someone who's... Like, a journalist can be good at politics, can be good at things. But it's like, at this point in stage, like, there are enough gaming journalists or writers or people that are in the industry that care enough to actually put more thought into this than what this particular person did. So hopefully they learn their lesson, and like most magazines, you start realizing you're going to face a huge backlash because there are, if her numbers are right, and it's 214, so 2/3 of America are gamers, there's a lot of people that are going to goddamn care about an article written about gaming, so get someone who knows what the shit they're talking about.
But then again, the magazine, quote-unquote, that they stuff inside a Sunday paper, which no one buys anyway, I guess I can see where this came from.
Yeah, I guess that's true too. So let us know what you guys think. Obviously, there was plenty of outrage from people, but let us know if there's anything else you want to hit on or mention or talk about, because this one was pretty crazy. It was a little shitstorm for a little bit.
That was so funny to see. Like every female that I shouldn't say every female, because that's also derogatory. But every woman we know.
Yeah, Jim, why don't you calm your tits?
Look, Brad, the goddamn females is bitching again, all right? But no, every woman that we know, like, they just responded with, really? Like,
well, Jim, what they really missed out on, and I know it hasn't come out yet, but why did they not add Gamer Girl to this list? Obviously, that's going to be the best, most played female game ever.
Well, I mean, Gamer Girl should have been on the list. I'm sure there's a pregnancy simulator out there they could have thrown on there. Judging by the rest of your article, that would have been good.
Jim?
What?
Oh.
Are you there?
Uh-oh.
Did you lose me?
Oh, you're there.
Okay.
No, I missed you at the end there.
All right, doesn't matter.
All right, so we'll do a fresh start at 3, 2, 1. All right, so we're going to move on to the last two topics, the recurring bits. And we'll keep them kind of quick because I think part of it was intended for the SNES Drunk for us to really talk through. But overrated, underrated. Game length. And I think I know what you're going for here, Jim.
Right. Do you think longer games are better? Do you get more bang for your buck? Is it better to have longer games? Or do you like something more short and concise?
Whew. That's almost too nuanced, because on one hand you could say, like, thank you.
Yeah, got you, prick.
like Tetris is a game where it's incredibly short, but you keep playing it because it's addictive, and your gaming session could be long. So do you mean game length where it's purposefully intended that like a story takes super long? Or do you just mean something that has replayability that you can keep playing? Just so I'm clear.
Let's go with the actual getting through the story is either super or inflatedly long. Because when games come out these days and reviews are out there, sometimes people will be like, oh, this is only a 6-hour game. This is not worth the full price of a game. But is it really worth the full price of a game if it's only 6 hours long?
I mean, that goes back to what you and I have said many times. Like, I've talked up that game, Hellblade, one of the shortest games of a newer release game, but goddamn, did I love it. And if you know what you're doing, you can really blaze through it. But I would say it was worth every bit because it was the experience I enjoyed. So game length is ultimate. Now, but there are games like the Fallouts, like Skyrim, like things that you could not do in a 2-hour period. Like, unfortunately, yeah, you got to spend 40 hours or more. And I loved almost all of it. And there's always side quests. So I don't like games that feel overinflated for the sake of filling in time. And actually, a lot of older games were very, very, what's the word? Guilty of doing that, where they just keep reusing bosses over and over to just fill in a level, or they make things harder than they need to be, or like things that just were cheap ways of making you keep playing. Like I kind of feel the same way about when a difficulty for a game gets so hard and it's really only there for replayability. And Jim, did you happen to see that new documentary on Netflix, the High Score?
No, I did not. I heard about it, but I didn't see it.
Pretty goddamn good, but it basically outlined like when Atari was like had their cabinets out there and stuff. Like at first, like profits were through the roof, but as people played, they realized they could play for hours off one quarter. So these guys from MIT came up with these patches that basically made the games more difficult. So you had to keep losing to play more. So it was really driven by just a profit thing, which just spilled into console games at some point.
Makes sense.
So game length. This is the only one I think I've ever done where I'm completely in the middle. I can't say it's overrated or underrated. You'd have to be very specific on the type of game. If a game is unnecessarily long because you added a bunch of bullshit to just make it seem like it's a longer game, like some action games where they have you doing nonsensical errand runs or doing X to Y to just give you a level or 2 or 5 where it's like, okay, I don't feel like doing that, then it's clearly overrated. But, when you have full-fledged RPGs that if you want to get the full experience, you're spending 100+ hours, it's underrated because you're getting so much value out of that game that other games seem like why the hell are you charging me full price when I can get much more out of this bigger game? And like I said, this is the only time I've ever done it, but I'm going to be completely a fence sitter and say I can't give a straight answer because it's so dependent on the game.
Fair. I will say I'm going to go with overrated. There's no fucking reason that any game needs to be 60 hours long. Like, you're just throwing in content for the sake of content. Now, there's parameters around that. Like, say Skyrim, which is the one we always go back to. Skyrim is... you can go through the main story probably in like 20 hours. If you want to play through all the side quest missions, you can make it as long as you want. It can be like 400 hours. Same with like a Breath of the Wild, or same with shit like that. Like, my problem comes, like, especially with a game like fucking Resident Evil 6, which you had 4 separate campaigns, and there's no reason that all 4 of them had to be like 8 hours long, which is complete bullshit. Like,
yeah, that game felt like a goddamn marathon. Like that, so that's a perfect example of a game where I'd say it is way overrated. They tried to just extend it for unnecessary reasons.
Yeah, and like you even get to the games like fucking like BioShock when we did that. Like you hit like the top part of the storyline 8-9 hours in, but then you still have another 4 hours of fetch quests before the final boss fight. It's almost like they're like, okay, we made this a little too short, so let's just extend this a little bit until you can beat the actual story, which I was like, this whole last third of the game seems so unnecessary now. Like, just let me just fucking jump to it. Like, I would have been fine with it ending at like 9-10 hours. But then you extended it into like the 14-15 hour phase where I'm like, now I have a sour taste in my mouth. Like, I don't want to do this again. Like, I just think like so many games feel like they need to make themselves longer than they actually are. Like, Carry On that you played, that's only like, what, a 6-hour game tops? For a Metroidvania?
Yeah, if that.
Right, like, if you have 6 hours worth of content and you make a 6-hour game, that's perfectly fine. Like, make the fucking game you plan to make. Like, don't extend it because you feel like you have to. Like, put other ways in there for people to maybe go back and replay it, but if you're just extending it for the sake of extending it, it's just never a good sign. And I just think it always drags it down.
Well, just like I was saying though, so think of like, I'll just go to any of the original Castlevanias.
Right.
A first-time player, you play that. If you try to sit through and play it, speedrunners can beat it in, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Shorter, crazy amount of time. But first-time players, if you're not emulating, you're not using save states, if you really want to go through it, that game could take you multiple hours just because of the ridiculousness of of difficulty.
Yeah.
Isn't that the same way as kind of extending the length and the amount of time needed to actually beat the game?
Well, NES hard, like that term, like that's its own level of bullshit. But I still think that like the game at its core is like a 40-minute game. Like they're not making you sit there through like a 20-hour fucking Castlevania campaign. Like their ridiculous difficulty and like the stiff controls is what makes you have to keep coming back again and again. Which that's a different argument. I think it more comes down to the more linear story, not even linear, but just like the more story-based games, but just that make you keep going through more and more bullshit just to extend it past that like 30-hour mark. So people can't go in reviews, oh, well, you don't get your money's worth out of this one. They can go, well, you get 30 hours of content at the very least. And some people only want that.
There's one game series that I will absolutely say game length is complete bullshit. And it's maybe even a genre, but RPGs that require you to grind out until your character's strong enough to beat a character that you meet early enough. Such as Dark Souls and things like that, where you know what you need to do, and you also know that you have to keep dying and trying and killing the same enemies over and over until you get the special item or whatever. Whereas there's no like shortcut way to just kind of get through it. You just have to grind, and so it unnecessarily adds 40 hours of your grind. Like it's not like adding fun elements. Like enough other action / RPG games will add elements where like you go through and you can do other things. Like Castlevania Symphony of the Night was a good example where some bosses were really tough if you didn't have items, but you could beat them.
Well,
whereas
you know what?
It's been
Dark Souls, and even to an extent Breath of the Wild is like an unfair comparison with that, because there's people out there who are so ridiculous about playing these games and learning the mechanics and like the perfect parrying that they beat these games with like their stock weapons you start with. Like there's people who play Breath of the Wild who just run right to Hyrule Castle in the middle of the fucking world with only 3 hearts and like a couple boggling fucking arms and shit like that, and they beat Ganon because they just have like that ridiculous like skill level with it.
But you can't. But that's think of it as the purpose of the bell curve. That's like the same people who could go through Resident Evil with a knife on the hardest difficulty. Like nobody's doing that on the first run.
Fair, yeah.
Like the way the game is really intended, like just because you can do it on the hardest shit on a crazy stipulation, it's there. But the average player, like that's why when you round out what it takes to beat a game, Dark Souls is still a 40, 50, 60 hour game just because they know you're going to be grinding. Like, yeah, and then there's those freaks that can go out there and, like you said, parry the shit out of it and know the controls perfect. But that's not the intent.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's tough. But I do see what you're saying. It definitely can be overrated when it's those cases. But I would almost argue that Skyrim and Bethesda games, like you love Fallout New Vegas,
right.
You know you didn't ever want to just go through and beat the main campaign. Like the game draws you in enough where you wanted to spend multiple hours.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, and I know I said we had one other topic that we were going to cover. It's our which is better, but we really want to just save this for when we get the SNES Drunk, aka Alex, back on the podcast. Not sure what happened this time, but we did want to say thank you everyone who stuck with us. We will make sure we get a full-fledged podcast.
And thank
buddy.
you, Alex, for coming on. Like, I'm sure it's something on our end. Why this fucking? Because of course, goddamn fate has to just fuck us in the ass every goddamn time we try to do anything. So
this is how it works. But as always, guys, if you ever have any questions, anything you want to ask us or talk to us about, all of our links below. If you are listening to us or if you're not already subscribed to us, please make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. If you're listening to us on iTunes or Spotify, Stitcher, any of those things, please make sure, if you can, give us the best rating possible and then blast us with any negativity. Yeah. And for all of our Patreon fans, we truly, truly appreciate you all. And if you do want to support us, Jim, what's the link?
Patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame. Anything is a big help, but I would say the $2 tier is where you really get your money's worth because you can ask us whatever the fuck you want every week.
Absolutely. And with that, guys, we want to say have a good night and cheers.